All right. Okay, I dare you all to stand up with me. I dare one of you to come to the front and join me in this lovely stage. Anyone? Thank you. All right. What's your name?
Oliver.
I like that name, Oliver. I'm Hilary. Nice to meet you. Together we are going to dare the audience. So we can dare whatever you want. It's Friday night. Have fun with it. I'll go first and you follow suit. Okay. Okay? I dare you guys to shake your tail feather. No?
It was a dare. It didn't mean I had to do it, right?
I like it. I like it. Okay, your turn.
I dare you all to do jumping jacks.
Okay. I dare you to shake the hand of the person next to you. Nice to meet you. Don't think too hard.
I dare you all to turn around.
Okay. Now when you're turned around, I dare you to scream! Yes, thank you. All right, awesome. So here's the thing. Stay standing. Oliver. How long did Oliver wait to come up front? He waited, he played the cards, wanted to make sure it was cool to come to the front. But he came. So he knew the risk. He might trip along the way. He might embarrass himself and his friends. But he took up with this opportunity and he dared himself. What if, however, in this bag I had a $100 bill and I said whoever came to the front now gets $100. How many of you would want to come? Not all of you? Okay, well you guys are crazy. It's the easiest $100 I've ever made. Oliver, I don't have $100 for you, but I do have a copy of my book, which will help you earn thousands.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Oliver.
Thank you.
Please have a seat. So the funny thing about dare is, by definition, you're precisely right, my friend. What is your name? Ian?
Yeah.
Dares don't ensure success. All they mean is that you have to have the courage and the boldness to try. The funny thing about dare is they make us very, very uncomfortable for a slight moment. Scream, that was possibly the worst scream I've ever heard of out of 10,000 students I've ever spoken to. But it's all right, you still screamed. So even though they take us out of our comfort zone, they make memorable moments. What I want to talk to you today about is my dare to work as the only Caucasian for Toyota's Asian regional office in Singapore. I was told that I would get introduction, and that didn't happen, so I'm going to go back and do one briefly. My name is Hilary Corna. I'm an author, speaker, founder of the website liveandworkabroad.org, author of the book One White Face. When I was 22, I wanted to work abroad. Graduated college in 2007. Everyone told me it was impossible, so I said, watch me. I graduated without a job, bought a one-way ticket to Singapore, gave myself a budget of $2,000, a time frame of 2 months, and I said if I don't find a job before either one of those run out, I'll come home. But I had to try. Within 6 weeks, I had 5 job offers, and the last one was from Toyota Motor Asia Pacific for their Asian regional office working out of Singapore, which is how I ended up in this predicament as the only Caucasian. The first 3 months I was working for the company, I finally had our department meeting where I was introduced to the team officially. And as we're sitting there in the department meeting, the executive vice president walks into the room, so everyone stands up, because that's what you do when big bosses come into the room. So I followed suit, stood up. The executive vice president came over to me, stood right in front of me, looked me in the eye, and said, I hope you realize you're the one white face in the company. It was in that moment that I thought to myself, if I ever wrote a book, that would be the title of the book. In actuality, I was frightened. I was like, what am I doing coming halfway across the world to work for the world's largest car manufacturer, this young Caucasian woman? Who do I think I am? And then I realized that he wasn't telling me I couldn't do it. He was telling me that I had a challenge in front of me and that it was up to me to prove myself, that I would learn from what Toyota's success came from, but at the same time add value to it from a Western young female perspective. So that was when I made that promise to myself, that I would make a mark in Toyota. Can anyone tell me where Singapore is on a map? Oh, that was a bad one. Obviously, I don't play sports for a living.
Isn't it off Africa? I have no idea.
Wow. I love you for being honest right now. I have to say, I don't exactly know how to respond to that.
I literally have, oh, actually, I did know.
Awesome. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do math. I don't know.
It's okay. We're multi-billions of dollars in debt to Singapore, but that's just FYI.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, good job. Okay, thank you. Singapore is on the tip of Malaysia. It is a city-state in a population of about 4 million people, and it is only about an hour and a half east to west, 45 minutes north to south. Tiny, tiny country. It's predominantly Chinese. They call themselves Singaporeans, but Indian is also the second biggest population. They do speak English there, so we spoke English as a company there. And yes, we are multi-billions of dollars in debt to Singapore, but the average person cannot put Singapore out on a map. So a little bit more about the office briefly. I worked with a company called Toyota Motor Asia Pacific. We ran 14 different countries, marketing and sales offices, everywhere up to Taiwan, Korea, Philippines, to Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, all over to India and Pakistan. My job was in operations, which I'll explain briefly to you in a moment. What you might want to know or find of most interest is actually this couple was just in Singapore. I'm guessing you know who this is. Okay. I thought that might be the only thing that you have in common with them. So what I did, does anyone speak Chinese in here? Chinese. Can you read this? Gaisha. Is that how you say it? How would you interpret this? Probably just butchered your language. Yeah. Oh, you want to write it? Yeah, go for it. In Japanese, one thing you might not know about Chinese and Japanese is that they actually use the same characters. So when Chinese and Japanese people read the languages, read the characters, thank you, they can interpret it because the characters are based off pictures, but they don't pronounce it the same. So what he pronounces as that, I will totally butcher if I attempt that. I pronounce as Kaizen. I almost just wrote it in Japanese. Oh shoot, it's Japanese. I have like 3 languages going through my head. Kaizen. Zen, I'm sure you all know because it's very trendy. Zen means for the better. Kai means change. So what made Toyota so famous on the manufacturing side is Kaizen in the manufacturing plant. So you might have heard of lean manufacturing or lean technology. What Toyota's been trying to do in the past 10 years is apply those same Kaizen techniques, since they're just tools, to the operations side of business, so the actual automotive dealerships. And that's what I did for Toyota. What I'm going to talk to you guys today briefly about, even though I don't really even have time, is Kaizen from a personal perspective. Okay, what happened? Doo-doo-doo. No, I hate technology sometimes. Oh, this is really not good. You just saw my desktop? I feel like that exposes everything about someone when you see their desktop. You're like, oh, they're really disorganized. All right, so a little bit about a few stories for you about being challenged personally in Toyota abroad. This was my desk. As you can see, I have a pink nameplate. Anyone guess why my nameplate was pink? Smarty pants? Yes.
See, somebody else did it for me.
Why would they want to identify that I'm a girl?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Close. The reason that I want to identify as a girl is because since we were a regional office and we managed 14 different countries, that also meant 14 different languages minimum. In India alone, they speak over 60 languages. So in our office, we had people from all of these countries, and it was very hard to distinguish gender just by the name. So this was actually a visualization tool that helped people prevent people from insulting each other. And the stuffed animals are just decoration. When I joined the company, we, like any other company, have birthday parties. So the first official birthday party in the department was for a girl. We had the cake, we took a picture, we went back to our seats. Well, as we go back to our seats, I get a tap on my shoulder. And it's my boss, and I turn around, and he says, "Hilary-san, can you please go back and help the other ladies clean up?" For all the girls in the room, would that be a good feeling or a bad feeling? Bad. I looked around the room, and all of the other males were sitting at their desks, back at work, and the women were in the conference room cleaning up. And I thought to myself, what is happening? You're supposed to be the world's largest car manufacturer. You're supposed to be the moving forward, setting trends in the business place, and you still operate in this way? However, I was quite ignorant, and this is the beginning of my work abroad, and I was judging them from an American perspective. In actuality, the females have a very strong workplace abroad. It's just you have to understand that workplace. And that's when I realized that neither is right or wrong. It's just different. Sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles, and this was one that I was not going to win. My first team was this team out of the Philippines. From the right to the left is Val, he's Indian. Vinod is Filipino, myself. Anthony is Filipino, Thai, and Vic is Filipino. When I joined the company, I actually had long, fake blonde hair. I cut it short, dyed it back brown, all in order to blend in. When I worked in the dealerships, I would wear flat shoes, slacks, button-up shirts, never wear makeup, never wear jewelry or do my hair, because I was not there to attract attention. If I did that, I would get pointed at. I did it in an effort to blend in because I was there to do business. About halfway through my work abroad, when I just finished the Philippines project, we were going through our first reviews for promotion. At that time, my title was executive officer, so I was up for a promotion for senior executive officer. But Toyota had a rule, because Toyota loves rules. And that rule was, you cannot get promoted to senior executive officer until you've been with the company minimum 2 years. But when you looked at the papers, I had done everything a senior executive officer did. I ran my own team of 10 people in a different country. I ran my own expense accounts for $20,000, $30,000, traveled 3 weeks out of every month, traveled on average 180,000 miles a year, which is 6 times around the world. Everything senior executive officer did, I did, but they wouldn't give me the promotion because I hadn't been with the company for 2 years. Even though you've only known me for 10 minutes, how do you think I reacted to that? I challenged it. I went to the executive vice president and I said, this is absurd, this rule should not exist. And he said, okay, if that's how you feel, defend it. So I defended it and it got approved and I got promoted in a year instead of 2 years as senior executive officer. And that's when I realized that unfortunately, not all things that are considered right are right. And sometimes you have to change or challenge the status quo. This picture is from the first meeting in India. After the Philippines project, I got reassigned to India in September 2008. What happened in September 2008?
The crash. Around
Crash, yes. Crash. The financial crisis happened. So to give you guys a sense of perspective, I know it's like 9 o'clock at night on a Friday, but here's a little numbers for you. In the Philippines, my first project, we were #1 already with 44% market share. We were selling 42,000 cars a year. In India, at that exact same time, we were selling 250,000 cars a year, so nearly 5 times as much. Can anyone give a random shot at what our market share was?
7%.
Close. Anyone else? Random.
75%?
You obviously weren't listening. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude.
No.
Oh, I don't know, 8?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you said 70, not 7.
Oh, okay.
I swear I'm not down.
It's all right.
11?
Nope.
13.6.
Nope.
5?
Lower? 2.3% market share. 2.3% market share versus 44%. So if you're a company running a company in that kind of financial situation, what do you think you would do? You would reallocate your resources to the ones that are potentially making more money. So suddenly I got thrown into this India project. And yes, this was my team. As you can tell, they're Indian and Japanese, and I was the only woman there, much less Caucasian. When we were 6 months into the project, it was what they called the interim report. So all the big bosses came from Japan, which is about a $5,000 flight. It's 3 flights from Japan to get to India. It's a very, very big trip. They were coming for this one big report. And if you find out anything when you work for multinationals, usually the people that are doing the dirty work are the staff. So suddenly, I somehow got assigned to do the presentation for my boss to present to the big bosses in Japan. Been working on this presentation for 3 weeks, wasn't sleeping, was up till like 3 a.m. the night before. The day before the presentation, the Indian bosses come from the headquarters in Bangalore, and they say, please show me the presentation. So this time I'm like, okay, it's clear, we're good to go, so no problem, here's the presentation. I start to go through the presentation, and he starts to shake his head. And he's like, no, you have to remove these slides. I'm like, what do you mean remove these slides? And he said, you either have to change these slides or remove these slides because these slides are not right. And I said, these slides came from your staff. All I did was compile them, so what do you mean they're not right? And he said, you have to go back to your country and take your math again because these slides aren't right, and you were never even wanted here. Naturally, on lack of sleep or being a woman, I'm not sure, I started bawling in tears, ran to the bathroom eventually. And through some discourse, we went back and forth. Eventually, my boss came and settled it, and we had to remove the slides because he wasn't happy with it. The fact is, I had been working on these slides with his team for nearly 6 months. But when it came into the final picture of how these people would look in front of their bosses, it didn't matter who I was not their boss. Suddenly, when their boss started asking questions, you did whatever the boss said. Eventually, the slides changed, and I had no say in the matter. And that was the first moment that I thought to myself, if you want me to lie on a presentation, I can do that from the States. I don't have to be working in your country 6 days a week to do this. And that was the first time I thought about leaving Toyota because of that situation. And that's when I realized that some battles are not always fought or won. But like my Japanese bosses said, sometimes you just have to take baby steps. So this was just a baby step to making an impact into doing better business, although I didn't necessarily get the result that I wanted. Oh, that was not the slide I was supposed to be talking about. So although they would get very serious, they would also loosen up, my Japanese bosses that is, such as here, which is our annual dinner and dance Christmas party. And yes, those are men just in sequin tops and black mini skirts. The Korean pop music group, the Wonder Girls. Yes. Yes. So although they would be very serious, they would also loosen up. The best part about it is that they would go to work the next day without any mention of it. So there's plentiful of stories, which my friend Oliver over here can read in my lovely book. Stories about massage parlors and other things. But you can read about those. What I want to talk to you a little bit about, even time. Are we halfway through?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Golden. All right. So one of the tools that Toyota uses a lot is visualization. So what I want to talk to you about is how you strive, or who you strive to be like. So take a moment. Don't fall asleep on me, but close your eyes. Think of one person in your life that you admire, someone you respect. What is the trait about them that you admire? Why are they a role model to you? Now open, keep that in mind, and we are going to do a little of what Toyota calls a gap analysis. Tell me if anyone has seen this before. Ideal situation versus current. Anyone? Whoa, please don't judge my handwriting. It's very messy. Toyota has this thing. They look at your ideal situation. How do you see yourself? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want people to think about you or describe you? That's ideal situation. Ideal situation. Current situation is where are you now? What is it in your life that you know deep down in your gut you don't feel good about, or you've always felt not so good about and wanted to improve? And then in between, that's the gap. So what I want to challenge you guys with is that question. There is a little guy, he has a movie. I may or may not have seen that movie. The best part about that movie is his story of him and meeting his agent. For all of you that don't know, the person that made Justin Bieber famous was Usher, right? So my favorite part about the movie or the story is when he's going for his first meeting with Usher. Justin's agent says to him, no matter what you do, do not sing for Usher. He gets it all the time. What do you think Justin did? The moment he walked into the room, he belted out singing. I don't really need to tell you what happened after that. But what if he had thought, how is my agent going to react to this? What if this ruins all my chances with Usher? What if this ruins my mom and what she thinks of me? What if this explodes and it's horrible? But he didn't. He just sang. He followed his intuition and he was in the moment. When you are authentic like that, I'll tell you a little secret. People actually like it. There is a little message motto I like to remind myself is that we are often our own worst enemy, or otherwise we often keep us from being our best. There's a story about a Buddhist monk going through the forest, a senior monk and a junior monk. And as they're going through the forest, they come across a river, and on one bank of the river is a woman. And it's evident to them that the woman can't get across on her own. So the senior monk goes over to the woman, picks her up over her shoulder, and carries her across the river, Buddhist monk and stage, sets her on the other side, and continues on the journey through the forest. As the junior monk and the senior monk are walking through the forest, it's very evident to the senior monk that something's bothering the junior monk. So he says to him, "What's wrong?" The junior monk says, "Sir, I don't understand. You just picked that woman up, carried her across the river. That is entirely against our being." And the senior monk said to the junior monk, "I dropped her off on the other side of the bank. Why are you still carrying her?" Often, it is ourselves deep down inside that hold us back because of X, Y, Z reasons to not do something or to not improve. So let go of all the reasons why you shouldn't do something, what you should be or should not be, what you're expected to do or expected not to do, and just be pure in that moment. Anyone heard of the marshmallow test? Anyone else? Good. Sharing some stories today. Marshmallow test is a study done back in like the 40s or 50s. Psychologists put 2-year-old kids in a room with marshmallows. And they said, you can have this one marshmallow, no strings attached. But if you wait, you can have not one marshmallow, but 2. What do you think happened? Did they wait?
Some did, some didn't.
The majority of people, or children, didn't, and they ate the first marshmallow. The interesting part about the study, though, came much later, where they actually followed these people into their adult lives. And they found that the people who didn't eat that first marshmallow were significantly more successful in both their personal and professional lives. The reason is because they could know inherently that it was better to give up that short-term benefit for longer-term benefits in the future. So I ask the question, if this one thing on your note card that you want to improve is deep down inside of you, why aren't you improving it? What's stopping you from improving it. What would you have to sacrifice today to fix it? Is it time? Is it ego? Is it money? Is it sweat? What is it that you would have to sacrifice? Anyone heard the story about the sales guru? I'm going to skip it because I don't think I have time. Basically, the story is, with all sacrifice comes, with all success comes sacrifice, and you have to want it as bad as you want to breathe. This is where I'm going to sound like your mom or your teacher. Hopefully, I look like neither. Which is, you've got to put in the work. But this is where I'm going to sound different, and that is because extraordinary results in your life do not come from ordinary choices. This might be the most important thing I say all night, so I'm going to say it one more time. Extraordinary accomplishments in your life will not come from ordinary choices. After you let go of all the reasons not to, after you sweat, you got to sell yourself. You've got to campaign and tell people what you want to be and why you want to be a better person. Most people are like, hey, why would Toyota, this office in Asia, hire you, this like young white woman? Well, I'll tell you why. It was in this pool. 3 weeks into being into Singapore, I had some leads for jobs, but nothing was materializing. Everyone was telling me to come home and that my pipe dream had failed and I should just accept reality. So instead, I said, I'm going to take a swim. And as I'm swimming through this pool, letting go of all of these concerns of mine, I come out of the water and am graced by the most adorable 2-year-old Japanese boy swimming in floaties in front of me. So without hesitation, I said, "Konnichiwa." And he looked at me like, who's this crazy white girl trying to speak Japanese to me? And a few moments later, his dad came up from behind, and his dad just ends up being the most successful Toyota dealership owner in Tokyo for 10 consecutive years, had already retired and been hired on as a consultant for Toyota in Singapore. Lo and behold, he had one position available in his department. That's how I got my job interview. If you were to be asked right now by someone, who do you want to become? What do you want to be? Could you tell them? Corey talked about it a little bit today, but could you articulate what it is you want? You don't have to know exactly, but like Toyota, you should have some kind of vision, some kind of direction for yourself. So how will you dare yourself to be better? 1, let go of all the reasons not to. Sweat, put in the work, and campaign for yourself. When I left Toyota, my boss asked me one question upon resignation, which was, do you have a dream? And I said, yes, I have a dream. And he said, do you have a plan? And I said, yes, I have a plan. And he said, if you have a plan and a dream, I can do nothing but be happy for you. Just giving you a fair warning right now, you will never have a boss in America that tells you that. With that said, that is why this statistic is so important. Can anyone take a random guess at what this statistic stands for? Anyone? Go ahead. Off the top of your head.
A white female making it in an international company.
It's awesome. I've never heard that one before. Hopefully that's not that low. Go ahead. Can you take a guess? Off the top of your head. It can be...
I have no idea.
How about the number of people wearing purple hats in the United States right now?
Bet that's more.
Bet that's more. Do you want to take one? Third chance? Last chance?
Chance of being born?
This is the odds. You're going to ruin my whole presentation. Of you existing on this earth, given all natural disasters, all probability of your parents meeting someone else in their life, it's the odds of you existing. With your hair color, with your attitude, with your likes, your dislikes, with your personality types, the odds of you being here on earth. So when Corey Cicchetti or myself talk about becoming a better person, I do not see it as some selfish comment or some entitlement. I see it as a duty, as an obligation to give back to the blessing of you being here in the first place. And the fact of the matter is, one of our biggest weaknesses is we don't feel like we're deserved. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that the world needs you to better it, and it wants you to better it. So my overall motto in life, when your intuition dares you, accept it. When you feel a gut, oh, that's not it. My stupid clicker, I hate technology. So basically, create your own opportunities so you can have little moments like this. Like Ren, my little man. But no, seriously, follow your intuition. Be true to what you are and who you want to be, is my message. So I dare you. Thank you.
Is that your son?
No.
I was wondering. I wasn't sure. That's the 2-year-old.
This is,
Okay. That's right. It was one of the two. I'm sorry.
how are we on time? Time?
It's 8:53.
And it starts at 9.
Yeah.
One person, I want one person to share campaign for themselves, come to the front and share what their dare was. The last time we shared like 10 and we posted them on the board, but I want just one person on the way out. Come.
What are we doing?
You always ask so many questions. Go. Share your dare. You didn't write one.
Yeah, because we wrote it down in the email, like I said.
Did I not tell you to write it? Oh, God. Okay, shoot. 30 seconds. Write down the one way you want to be better. I'm sorry, that was my bad. So that person you thought of when you closed your eyes and you thought of someone, I meant to tell you after that to write down the trait about that person that you want to be like. So anyway, write down whether maybe you want to listen better, maybe you want to be a better sister, maybe you want to be a better friend, maybe you want to ask more questions, maybe you want to say hello more often. How do you want to be better? A couple of my own, I'll be frank. I want to go to church more often because I don't go to church anymore. I want to give up my time instead of taking other people's times. I want to actually become less at voicing my opinion and better at listening at other people's opinions. There, I'm vulnerable. You want to share yours? And you do have to turn these in to me, actually. I've been told to collect them, so.
Can I borrow your pen?
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I...
Thank you.
Do you need one? What's yours?
I was going to share it.
Good. Stand up.
All right, I said that I wanted to be like more sociable, but like strike up conversations with random strangers and like in a sense get to know the world and be like educated enough that I could talk to anyone about a lot of different things. 'Cause
I love it. Good. I have a rule, you always have to applause, even if it's stupid. Just kidding. No, I didn't mean it like that. I should not give presentations at 9 o'clock on Friday night anymore. Noted. I don't want to make you guys late, so I would love if more people could share, but I don't think we have time. Thank you so much for sharing your Friday with me.